Good morning. Hi everyone, it's Helen here from NurtureMamas. How are you? Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold this week, feeling a little sorry for myself. I hope you're doing really well. I am 24 weeks pregnant this week. I'm feeling great apart from the cold. So this morning I wanted to go through a short core session that will be suitable for both prenatal and postnatal. So there'll be two exercises in the section if you're postnatal and have diastasis recti, so the split in the abdomen. If you do have that, I'll just say to you to not do two of the exercises. But otherwise, pretty much everyone, excuse me, should be able to do these. I'm going to give variations, starting off quite gently and then getting a little bit stronger in a couple of them. But I'll keep giving you variations. Excuse me, very annoying. So if you need to amend anything, you can do, you have to just do what feels right. Some days you're going to have lots of energy, whether it's pre or postnatal, and other days you'll feel horrendous, or really tired or whatever. So we're going to start off. I would recommend doing a short core session either before or after some exercise. So say for example you've done a bit of a workout pre or postnatally, you can add this on to the end. Or maybe you're pregnant, particularly if you're very heavily pregnant and you might have gone for a nice swim or a walk, you can do this at the end. Just don't do it from without being warmed up at all. Okay, so if you're there, I can see there's a few people online, so say hello. And again, if you have any questions at all, just ask them afterwards on the suitability of the exercises for your stage of pregnancy or postnatal, as I said earlier. But pretty much everybody should be able to do these. Okay, so we're going to start off sitting. So hopefully you'll be able to see me. Okay, I know I look like a bit of a ninja, I'm all in black today. So what we're going to do is we're going to be sitting down. And with this, the main thing, particularly if you're pregnant, is that you are drawing in your TA, your transverse abdominis, your deepest core muscle. Okay, so that, in essence, I'm always talking about this through any of my videos and my classes. It feels like you're hugging your baby. So instead of just letting kind of the belly hang out, you would draw the belly in as if you're hugging baby and bringing it in towards the back of the body. So you're literally sitting with your knees bent and you draw in the tummy muscles, so feel really strong in the core, and lift up the pelvic floor. So I'm going to sit back a little bit, but I'm not rounding my back, okay? So I'm sitting to start off, and we're going to do this first one, which is fairly simple, but again, if you have diastasis recti, I wouldn't do this one, okay? So it's like a helicopter in the arms. We're just going to open the arms out to the side and come back to the center. So you're opening out and back. Okay, so you're slightly leaning back, but your stomach muscles, your core muscles are really switched on here, and you're grounding down through your feet. Okay, so you should definitely be able to feel this in the core. And you can do, maybe, if you can get to about 10, 15 per arm, that would be great. Okay, so you might just get to 5 and feel like you've had enough. So keeping the core, well, what the core is, first of all, is a canister of muscles, right? So you would have just keep doing that for another moment or two. You would have the muscles at the front of the abdomen, the muscles of the back, and then the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. So that core has to work synergistically all the time, working together. And often if you have one part of a weakness, so say you've weakness in the back or the stomach muscles, you might find that gives some sort of issue or a little bit of pain in the body, okay? So it's really important, and it can also impact your pelvic floor muscles as well, so in terms of mild incontinence, pre or postnatal. So it's really important to work the core muscles and take the cues, like I'm saying, draw baby in towards you, lift up the pelvic floor, okay? So from this one, you would do that a few times. From this one, I'm going to come down onto my forearms. You can lie down flat on your back if you're comfortable, but a lot of pregnant women, you're not going to be that comfortable for doing that, so you could put, either come onto your forearm, the back of your arms like I am, or you could put pillows into your hips and under your head. Okay, if you've had your baby already, you could quite easily lie flat, and just make sure that when you're lying down flat, that you're pushing the lower back into your mat, and you're drawing in your tummy muscles. So the first thing we're going to do is a single toe tap. So what we're going to do is hug baby in and then bring one knee directly on top of your hip no closer to your chest, so just on top of your hip, and tap toes to the floor. Okay, so it looks very easy, but it's quite effective. So it's nice and focused right on the core muscles. So you're drawing in your tummy, hugging baby. If you're lying down flat, just make sure that your lower back is pushing into the mat. So same thing, just do this for as long as you can. Take a little break in between, maybe 20 reps in total. So at least 10 per leg anyway, okay? And then you would just rest, and you can repeat that a few times. Moving on a little bit from that, if you find that quite easy, we're going to do the 2 legs at the same time. So you would draw in the tummy, lift the pelvic floor, bring the 2 knees up directly on top of your hips, 2 feet down to the floor and back. Okay, so again, it looks very simple, but just make sure that you're pushing your lower back into the mat and you're hugging in the baby if you're pregnant. So you'd be able to do this postnatally as well. So toes to the floor, knees on top of the hips. Okay, so just keep doing that for however long you can, and maybe 20 reps if you can. And then when you're done, if you want to give your back or your core a little bit of a rest, just come on up and then round your back a little bit, just stretch it out. Excuse me. So from here, we're going to move on to a little bit more stronger version. So that's the third exercise. This is the 4th one. So just like we did with the helicopter arms, there is a twist in the abdomen. So for the next one, I also don't want you to do this if you have diastasis recti postnatally. Okay. So a little bit more challenging here. So draw in the tummy muscles, lift the pelvic floor, flat back, but lean back slightly. We're bringing our elbow towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch the floor. So you might come here, you might come all the way back, and then bring yourself back up. Okay, so elbow towards the floor. It's definitely a more challenging one. So making sure that the whole core is working nice and strongly. Elbow towards the floor. Again, I said it doesn't have to touch. You might only move a couple of inches back, and that's fine. Again, this is a twisting of the abdomen slightly, so you don't want to do this if you have diastasis recti. Okay, so again, if you can, aim for about 10 on each side. If you notice when you're doing these that your bump, or if you've had your baby, is mad pointy, stop and reset it, because most likely you're not doing it correctly in terms of you're not engaging your core muscles. So stop, hug baby in towards you so you feel strong in the abdomen, and reset again. Lift up the pelvic floor, and then you're coming back. Excuse me. So you don't have to move very much. You could just move the elbows back a little bit. It's still very effective. I can still feel it a lot. Okay. So then the following one we're going to do is a bicycle. So you come back down to the floor. Again, if you're pregnant, you can stay up onto the forearm, onto the back of the arms, or lie down flat. But as I said, make sure that you're comfortable, that you have pillows under your head, shoulders and hips. If you are lying down, you just need to make sure that the lower back for this one is planted into the mat, and you're drawing in. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but if you look at my bump, I'm really drawing it in, hugging it in towards me. So I'm going to lift one leg up and straighten, really engaging my core. So this is a really commonly recognized one. So you're bicycling the legs. So it's one at a time to straighten the legs. Now, the higher this is, the easier it is. So the lower that you go to skim the floor, the more challenging. And that's often when you feel your lower back lifting up from the floor. Okay. So just another few more here. I hope you're all well, having a lovely week. Enjoying the freezing weather. I like it when it's a little bit chilly. Okay, and then we'll come up. Come on to our side now. So we're going to move into a side plank. Okay, so I'm just going to wiggle around this way first. You can do side planks either from your arm or from your hand. So if you're on your arm, your forearm, the shoulder's on top of the elbow here. Otherwise, you can come all the way up onto your hand, where the shoulder, when you come up, is on top of the wrist. So particularly if you're pregnant, this might be a little bit too much because of all the fluid, extra fluid in your body. or if you have carpal tunnel, you might be more comfortable down on the forearm. So my top leg is going to be out straight and my bottom leg is bent. I have one hip on top of the other hip, so I'm not leaning backwards. That's kind of what the body wants to do. So you're, again, one hip on top of the bottom hip. You're drawing in your tummy muscles and you're going to lift up and down. So this is very much pushing from the hip itself. Okay, so you're pushing up and down. Again, if you can get to about 15, 20 per side, that's great. But you might start off with 5, and then maybe the next day you do 6, or the next time you exercise. I'm not really counting here, but so you'll be able to feel this at the hip. That's the lowest part towards the mat. Okay, I'm going to scoot around the other side. So same thing here. Top leg is straight, top hip is on top of the bottom hip, shoulder here is on top of the elbow. So draw in the tummy and then the bottom knee is bent, and then if you want for extra stability, if you need to hold on to the floor, that's fine too. And then you're drawing in the tummy, you're pushing up from the bottom hip. Okay, so you can make this more challenging, particularly probably if you're postnatally, by having the 2 legs out straight. I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, so you just do up to 15, 20 if you can. 15 is probably enough. And so as I was saying, if you want to make this more challenging, if you've been quite used to doing this sort of work, you can bring your top leg out in front and your bottom leg straight. Okay, pull in the tummy and lift up and down like that. Or the most challenging is 2 legs on top of each other. Okay, so then the last one I want to do is a full plank, and I'll show you one from the knees as well. Okay, so I'm going to come back this way. So full plank I'm going to show you starting from the knees. So with full plank, you want to make sure that your shoulders are all the way on top of your wrists. Most people will start their shoulders behind their wrists. So shoulders all the way on top, and then you're going to draw in the tummy, and you might just stay here, or take one leg out and then take the other leg out. So you can see from my body, my tummy is engaged. I have one long line. I'm not sticking my bum up and I'm not dipping down my hips. So play around to that level of your hips, count to 10 seconds, pull in the tummy, push the heels away, and then coming down. So you would rest and come up and down a couple of times. And that is quite a solid core workout for excuse me, either pre or postnatal. Again, just follow the guidance when I was talking through it. Follow what I was saying. If you have any questions at all, please do comment below or email me helen@NurtureMamas.com. And if you want me to do anything each week, just make a suggestion below, or you can email me as well. So please do like and share. I'd really appreciate it. You can share